We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Zachary. How's it going today, man?
It's going pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's finally not freezing cold here in Texas, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it's warming up here in Nashville too. So
nice. I love it. So how's everything going in Nashville for you?
Good. It's going really good. Really busy, working on music stuff every day, almost all day, every day. Music life.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. It's I guess I call it the Music City for a reason, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right. How long have you been in Nashville?
I made the move in September this year, September 11th.
Gotcha. And how's that all been? Like, obviously, you've not been in Nashville all that long. What, 4 months, I guess, at this point?
Yeah. It's been a transition. I came from a small little town, little farm town in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm in the downtown of a big city. So it's a little different.
Nice. And I'm guessing, like a lot of people, you moved to Nashville to pursue music.
I got a record deal and started cutting an album and stuff, and then that was when I moved here. I was already doing well. I was, as an independent artist, doing music, and that was the reason I moved. All that stuff happened. So,
gotcha. Really cool. And so, where does the introduction to music kind of come from? Is that like family, friends, or you kind of find it on your own?
My family's got a little bit of history in music or a musical background. Family members have been in a lot of bands. A cousin of mine's traveled the country in a lot of bands and done fairly well and still in music. Just musical family members. And I've always liked to sing. It's always been something that's just kind of been simmering under the surface, I guess.
Nice. So you're just kind of following in the family footsteps, so to speak?
I'm the first one to really make anything out of it. Other than my cousin did pretty well, but I'm the first one to, really try to make a career out of it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And so you just dropped the first single off of, I'm guessing it's building to a bigger project since you signed a record deal, or? Yeah,
there's a full length album that's done. It's going to come out eventually. We're going to do a few singles first, and then the album will come out.
Awesome.
The single's called Small Town Saturday Night. Just came out on Friday, the 24th.
Right. Sweet. And what's the story behind the song?
It's really just describing what it was like growing up in my hometown of Ransomville, which is as the more people hear the song and the more people give me feedback, the more I hear that it's pretty much everybody's story growing up. No matter if you're from the suburbs, the city, or the country, somehow you can relate to it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's one of those things where I definitely did not grow up in a small town. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago for the most part. And, so to say I grew up in a small town probably isn't the correct term, because definitely wasn't small.
Well, you don't have to be from a small town to relate to it. That's all right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And how long has this song kind of been in the works?
I wrote it. I think I wrote it in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, and played it a bunch, as an independent artist. But this is the debut release of it. So
nice. And so, how much? Obviously, releasing music, writing, and recording, and all that stuff in 2020 was probably an experience all of it its own. But do you feel like the pandemic kind of slowed down the process of recording this, or do you feel like everything just kind of happened when it was supposed to?
It definitely slowed down a lot of momentum. I had a lot of things happening for me around that time, and it put everything to a screeching halt. But it also gave me the opportunity to start doing live streams on TikTok, which really helped to build my following and get the music out there. So it was good and bad, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of glad that the things took the course that it did. Back then in 2020 or 21, might not have been the right time for me to be in this position, and I think
Hmm.
I'm in a good place to be here now. So.
Yeah, for sure. And at that time, was music still like 100% a full-time gig, or were you working like a full-time job and then music was just kind of something on the side?
I was doing both full time.
Hmm.
I was playing a lot of shows, had a really good band going, and I'd work, Monday through Friday and Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, out playing shows somewhere
Hmm.
typically.
And then obviously the pandemic hits and it's just like, ah, shoot, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It took a little bit, and then things started picking back up again.
fair. So you said you're from Bransonville. Where's that at roughly?
Ransomville,
Oh,
that's with an R. Yeah, that's
okay.
it's as northwest as you can almost possibly get in New York State without being in the water. It's right on the corner of the Niagara River and Lake
Okay.
Ontario. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you had a full culture shock moving to Nashville from New
Yeah, from
York.
a little town. I lived out in Joplin, Missouri for a bit, and that's it's kind of a city out there, and then kind of moved out to the country, but then moved back home, and yeah, but yeah, it's different, being able to just drive and park anywhere you want to, and everything's
Mhm.
a 30-minute drive from where
Yep.
I'm from, and then here I might as well walk. It's just as
Right.
quick.
Right. It's one of those things where Nashville, like you said, at a certain point, it's like you might as well just walk. It's going to be
Yeah, yeah. During the busy season, it's crazy here. I've been coming back and forth since 2019, and so I've seen slow season and busy season, and yeah, busy season is just busier and busier every year. This place is constantly growing.
right. And I just don't think that Nashville really has a slow season. Like, I, I went, one of the first times I went to Nashville would have been during the slow season. It was like the first 2 weeks of January,
Yeah,
and it was still some of the, like, I went down Broadway, and Broadway was like, wait, it's 10 o'clock on a Monday. What are we doing here, folks? Like, I drove down there thinking that it would be like just cool to see what was all down there because I'd never been on Broadway before.
yeah,
And yeah, it was not dead.
yeah. It's so weird. There can be days. Yesterday, there was nobody on Broadway. It was almost dead. There was nothing going on, and then other days you just can't move.
Really.
Yeah, it's crazy busy.
Nice. And do you play Broadway at all, or are you pretty much got like
I have
off Broadway stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I have in the past. I haven't been lately. My management's working on setting up some shows and stuff, and I'll probably hit a couple of things on Broadway and do stuff off Broadway.
Nice. And where are you kind of at show wise right now? Obviously, you're trying to set some stuff up, like you just mentioned, but are you playing pretty consistently, or is it all pretty much focused on getting this project out, and then you'll worry about shows?
Yeah, we've been really focused on getting the single finished and the album finished, and working on getting the music video done and stuff like that. And then rehearsing to get ready. But yeah, I've been really focused on all that stuff, and now we're going to focus on getting out there and starting playing some live shows again.
Nice. And have you just kind of been on break because of the holidays and stuff, or
Yeah, I was writing songs for the album, and so I was focused on that, and I was working, I was getting ready to move, so I was trying to spend as much time with my daughter as I could, and my dad was real sick, so I was trying to spend time with him, and then moved down here and been going nonstop with
yeah?
the music stuff, and then my dad ended up passing, so I had to go back home, and then we had Thanksgiving, and then Christmas and New Year's, and it's just been a really busy time since September.
Fair. It's well, first off, sorry about the loss of your father. I know I lost
Appreciate
my
it.
mom a couple of years ago, and that just took the say, like that would have been a point where it had just been really easy to be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna move back home and just kind of
It could have, but I know he'd have kicked my butt if I did.
right.
So, you know, yeah, he was pretty close to getting to see my song come out and hear me on the radio, but I know he's listening from somewhere.
Hmm. Oh, that's amazing. Um, so what's kind of the next steps? Obviously, you've got your first single out now. Do you know when the next single is? Like, what's kind of the next steps moving forward?
Yeah, probably about 6 weeks. We'll let the next single come out. and let this one keep building some momentum and some heat, and see where this one goes. And but that's kind of the tentative schedule for now.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And I know you'll be at doing some interviews around CRS. I was talking to Nicole a little bit, and I think we're going to do something. I think Friday, the 21st. So
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that'll be cool. So how or obviously you mentioned that everything's kind of been up in limbo, but um, outside of music, what do you like to do to kind of decompress and like when you do have free time or whatnot?
I try to exercise and stay in shape. I like to walk. I'll put my headphones in and listen to a book on tape and walk.
Mm,
That's what I found to be one of the most relaxing and peaceful things. I try to find time to FaceTime with my daughter or people back home, and yeah, in regular life, I'd like to go hunting or go
mm,
snowboarding or be out on the boat or something like that. But at some point, I'll get back to being able to have some that kind of free time again. But
right.
not right now.
Fair enough. I mean, Nashville's good for all of that. Like you go a
Yeah,
little bit south, you're back in the mount. Well, I guess you can't really call it mountains, but you're in a more hilly terrain. So,
yeah,
but yeah, hunting, fishing, boating. Like I feel like Nashville and that area is kind of set up for that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really cool. So with Small Town Saturday Night, what was it about this song that you were like, okay, let's make this the first song that's coming out?
It's 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 just been one that anytime I've ever played it, people have always just gravitated to it. They've really liked it, really connected with it, and it's something that, like I said, no matter what your background is,
Mm,
whether you grew up in the country, the suburbs, or the city, there's something about that song that you can still relate to it. There's
mm,
still a piece of it. It doesn't have to
yeah,
be all about, well, I didn't grow up in the country, I was in the city, but hey, we still did the same kind of
yeah,
things in a different place.
yeah, 100%. And is this the first song that you've ever released, or is this just the first song you've released as your own solo project?
This is the first song released with the record label. I had
Okay.
stuff out before as a independent artist, and then I took it
Mm,
all down when I signed the with the record
yeah.
label and stuff.
Gotcha. That's cool. Is that all stuff that you would potentially go revisit, or do you feel like it's been out and
No, it's some of it's been re-recorded and is on the album,
Mhm,
and then there's stuff that's on the album that's brand new that no one's ever heard yet.
mhm.
But yeah, I put out a few songs as an independent artist. They were doing okay, but I think things are going to do much better with the label pushing it out.
For sure. Now, with this upcoming album, what was the thought process behind it? Was it you had these songs that you had already written and released, and then you just started writing to that, or was the ultimate goal to kind of turn it into a bigger project, anyways?
Well, the whole plan was to do a full 10-song album from the beginning,
Hmm.
but the concept of the album was kind of like a party album, not
Hmm.
um, more like just up tempo, upbeat music that anyone's going to want to listen to at like a bonfire or a party, or
Hmm.
whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah,
We all got those songs that are kind of staples at every party that you go to, and that's kind of what the concept was. Make some songs that are going to fit in that realm.
for sure. And how long? Or when did you sign your contract? Was that, I'm guessing, around September last year? Or?
Around November of 23 was when
Okay.
we started getting real serious with everything, and then started recording in December.
Nice. That's really cool. So it's been a whirlwind over the last year or so.
It has been. And then I wrote, I think, 5 or 6 new songs for the album
Hmm.
while we were in the process of recording to get the full 10 songs.
Hmm.
Uh, we wanted to we wanted to pick, like I said, it was more of like an up tempo, upbeat
Yeah.
party kind of theme. So I had other songs written, but they just didn't seem to fit
Yeah.
on that album. So I wrote some new stuff for it that I'm pretty happy
Nice.
about.
Nice. Now, would those other songs be something that you'd consider putting out as like singles down line or
Probably
just,
on the second album.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them probably on the second album. I'm sure I'll probably write some new stuff for that too. But yeah, there's some good stuff there. They just they weren't in they didn't fit with the theme of this one.
Mhm.
So
Nice. Well, and I mean, there's also something to be said, like when you go out to play, kind of having those songs that people can only hear out live.
yeah.
Like,
Yep. Yeah. There's a few in the set list that aren't on the album that are originals that
mhm,
hopefully it'll, stick in people's ear and be like, hey, I heard this one. When are you going to do that one? They'll look
mhm.
forward to them in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where I think that's something that a lot of musicians tend to overlook when it comes to like their live performance or playing out at gigs and whatnot. Is like sometimes you just need to have songs that this is the only place they're going to hear it, because otherwise, other than wanting to support you, why am I going to come to a show?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a couple artists that I know that do that. There's a couple songs they'll play that they haven't recorded, but everybody knows them.
Mhm.
And that is you're right. It is kind of overlooked. It's
Yeah.
almost a subculture kind of thing that helps draw people to you.
100%. So who are you listening to right now that really has your ear or is doing something interesting as far as music goes?
As far as that, I like Tyler Childers,
Mhm.
Whiskey Myers. Listen to that kind of stuff a lot. Jason Isbell. Um, Yeah, I'm so busy with trying to get my own stuff worked out that
Yeah.
trying to listen to other music just to enjoy it is almost a luxury that I don't really
Right.
partake in at the moment. But yeah, that's would be some of my go-tos. Cody
Mhm.
Johnson, Cody Jinks, that kind of stuff. A lot of the Red Dirt,
Yeah.
Texas country music scene stuff.
Yeah. I was going to say your music seems like it would work really well out here in Texas, just like doing the rodeo circuit or doing the like the fair circuit down here, like the festivals and fairs and all that stuff. They've
Yeah.
always got country acts and red dirt country acts, and I think you're tailor made for that. So,
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really fell in love when I lived in out in Joplin. I really fell in love with the Red Dirt style music and
mm-hmm.
Texas country radio, and I think that those artists played a big influence in me really wanting to try to do something musically.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And have you been to Texas or?
I have, yeah. So March 14th, 2020, I got off a plane in Texas and was supposed to play like 4 shows with my buddy Steve, and that was the day they shut the world down. So
Mm,
that didn't
nice.
happen. We played one show in Fort Worth, and I flew back on a 737 in first class by myself and Steve and the stewardess, and that was it.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
Thought we were gonna get stuck there.
Right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people got worried about that. It's like, I mean, just rent a car and go, and it would have sucked to drive back, but it's
Yeah.
been all right. So,
Yeah, but we had a great time.
yeah.
We had a lot of fun, and it's funny you say that my music would fit in. Is I met a bunch of people there, and they thought that that's where I was from. They're like, your music style and your singing style and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it fits right in, and that was a
Hmm.
really big compliment from
Oh
them.
yeah. I did that to a musician now, or a couple of years ago. She lives down near Houston, and I was like, man, your music is about as Texas country as it gets. You must be born and raised in the area. She's like, no, I moved here 2 years ago from California. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it was just like, because there's that stigma of like all the Californians moving to Texas.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, well, I said what I said. I stand by it. You sound like you're from Texas. So congratulations. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It could be worse things, right?
All right. So were you out here to go to South by Southwest, or were you just playing shows around the DFW area?
No, we were just there to play the 4 shows that we were booked for in DFW, and that was it.
Nice, nice, nice. That's really cool. And then obviously the world shut down, and yeah. So during that time, you said you were like really started investing in TikTok and live streaming on that.
Yeah, I used to, man, almost every night of the week, I was on for like 3, 4 hours just playing music and talking to people and interacting with people. And it got to the point at one point where I had, I think, 4 or 5 moderators that would be in on my lives that were handling questions for people and
Hmm.
that I just couldn't keep up with or weeding out any spam I guess from all that would pop in. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing that, and then it just got to be to a point where it was too much trying to work and be a dad and do that at the
Right.
same time, and because after a certain point, people start to expect you to be there, and then they're
Oh,
messaging, "Hey, you going live tonight?" So, well, I can. I've got my daughter, or this,
yeah.
or that, and then I just took a break from it,
Mhm.
I might start, back into doing some live streams again at some point again.
Right.
But it was a great way to grow with my following.
Hmm.
It grew it really fast. I went from just a couple hundred to 30,000 in just a few months, just
Wow.
doing the live streams.
That's crazy. I know one of my buddies did the same thing where he lives out in where's he from? West Virginia, North Carolina, somewhere kind of in that area.
Yeah,
And once the pandemic hit, he started streaming on Facebook, and he was just doing what he'd call front yard sessions and basic or front porch sessions, and he'd just
yeah.
play out on his front porch. And after about 3 months, like all his neighbors every night at 7 p.m. would be sitting out on their front lawns isolating, but then he'd just go out and start playing his music, and he'd put on these little concerts for everyone, and it's like that's really cool. So
Yeah, that is really cool. I knew a couple of their musicians that would do that once in a while.
mhm.
But yeah, it was fun. And it was a great way to just interact with other people,
Yeah,
in the world.
yeah,
And it was really cool. And it was, uh, yeah, it's just a neat experience, made a lot of
hmm,
friends that way.
yeah. Now, were you pulling like revenue from the TikTok streams? Because I know you can do that like on Twitch, but I don't know where TikTok was at that point.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know how it works now.
Hmm.
I know how, well, I know how it used to work then, but I haven't done it in so long. But yeah, you can pull revenue off of it.
Okay. Because I know like now it's more like the social shopping and stuff. So it's like you sell something and that's how you pull it. But I didn't know how it was like working for like just straight live streams. If they were
Yeah,
doing
like
like,
if people would send you gifts, money would go into your account.
mhm,
Plus, you put your Venmo and stuff like that, so people could
yeah,
send you virtual tips for playing. And then I would sell
yeah,
merchandise, hats, shirts. I'd sign them on air, and then they'd send me their address when they Venmo me.
nice.
I would just
Mhm.
sign it live for them, and then send it to them.
Nice. That's really
Yeah.
cool. There was like a whole economy going on
Oh,
over
there
on
was. Yeah.
TikTok.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
That's sweet. That's sweet. And do you still post to TikTok at all, or is it all pretty much by the wayside right now?
No, no, we're still doing posts on all the platforms. Yeah,
Hmm.
Rick Zachary Music on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Hmm.
Yep, all the major stuff.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So kind of looking forward, do you have a rough idea for the album, or is it like as far as release date goes, or is it still kind of TBD?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact date. Everything's always just so fluid.
Mhm.
Things change so quickly around here from one minute to the next. You think you're on this trajectory, the next thing you know, you're on another one that you didn't see
Hmm.
coming. So I don't want to give an exact time because I don't know
Yeah,
for sure. It'll be a couple months, I think, before the full album comes out, but it'll,
for
it'll
sure.
be worth the wait for sure.
For sure. Especially if you're not ready to announce, I'm not going to push because I've done that before. And then I've had PR agents like, it's not releasing then. You got to cut that out. I'm like, sorry, I pushed a little too hard. My bad.
That's all
So,
right.
you know, no, that's really cool. And then, so as far as like live shows and whatnot, are you aiming just to play around Nashville or are you like spreading out?
Yeah, we're planning on doing a full tour. Just got to kind of get everything all ironed out, get the music out there, get people hearing it. We'll probably start, locally here, playing some shows here, and then start branching out from there in
Sweet.
2025.
Yeah. And now is music full time for you right now, or do you have a side job?
I have a side job that I work, and then music's the other
For
full
you?
and some.
Right, right, right. It's like it's so hard to call music a full-time thing because it's always more than 40 hours. You're always
Oh,
putting in 60 to 80 and yeah.
yeah, and then when you're not physically doing it, you're thinking about it, so
Hmm.
it never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I was telling a buddy of mine, I was like, man, if I were to actually tabulate the amount of hours I technically work between my regular 40-hour job and this, I probably work somewhere between 120 and 160 hours a week, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't even know if that's mathematically possible.
It's crazy. Yeah. When I was working full time and doing all the music stuff, managing the band and doing all the booking and all that stuff, like, and then promoting and all the social media, it was nonstop. I mean, I
Hmm.
was definitely putting in way too many hours, and that's part of why I took a step back from a lot of things.
Hmm.
Social media for a bit is that I need to be more present.
Hmm.
And I realized at one point that I wasn't, and I noticed I was like, nah, I need to take a step back from this. There's other things that are way more important.
Agreed, 100%. Uh, and so you brought up the band. I'm guessing that was like country, right?
Yeah, country, southern rock. That's kind of always been my style of music.
Fair. Was there an alternate universe where I don't know, maybe you got into like prog metal or some kind of weird offshoot?
No, what's that throat singing thing? I don't.
Oh,
Mongolian or something.
Mongolian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dabbled in that for a bit. No,
right, right.
yeah, no, it's just I had that band and that was it. They were a great group of guys. I'm still friends with them all. They're still back home in Western New York, but yeah, building some new stuff here and working on some new things here.
Nice, nice, nice. I was just asking more to see if there was like a chance that someday down the line, because you've got all these musicians that are like double dipping, like they're hip hop artists, but then they like Snoop Dogg does
Uh,
rap, and then he's gospel and reggae and all these other things, and so
no, I'm a one trick pony.
I 100% get it. So I don't want to keep you here too much longer. If anybody wants to check out your music, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Just either Google Rick Zachary Music, rickzacharymusic.com. You go check out Rick Zachary Music on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and we're constantly posting any updates that happen to come up or show dates, things like that. Will be all listed on those areas.
For sure. Awesome. And then before we wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
The best advice that anyone ever gave me was my cousin Jimmy. He said to me, Rick, you don't have to do the song exactly how it sounds. You're the musician, you're the singer, you're playing the guitar, make it your own, play it however you want to play it. And when he told me that was the most freeing thing I'd ever been told, because now I'm not in that box. If I'm trying to play it exactly like they played it, just do your thing, play it like you. And that'd be my best piece of advice is, just play it like you, no matter what the song is.
100%. Couldn't agree more. But once again, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Live and Amplified's Indie Fusion podcast. If you'd like to support anything Live and Amplified does, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Live, the letter N, Amplified. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, any of them, all of them, at Live, the letter N, Amplified. And if you would like to buy any official Live and Amplified merch, you can do so at our merch shop, link in the description below. Once again, thank you all. Have a great day.